The guests inside the church held their breath, unsure if they had really witnessed what they thought they had. Grace Ellington stood frozen in the aisle, bouquet trembling, eyes glossy, not with joy, but with a fear she tried desperately to hide. Derek Coleman, the picture-perfect groom, leaned toward her under the guise of adjusting her veil. From afar, it looked like tenderness. Up close, it was anything but. His fingers dug sharply into the soft skin above her elbow. A quick, precise squeeze meant only for her. It wasn't the first time he touched her like that. It was just the first time anyone else almost saw it. "Smile," he hissed through clenched teeth. "You're going to smile, Grace. Don't embarrass me." The pressure increased. Pain shot through her arm. She tried to pull back, but his grip tightened even more. 1 second, 2, 3. Long enough to leave a bruise no camera would ever capture. A tiny sound escaped her throat. The kind a person makes when they've learned to cry without noise. Barely anything, but real. Someone was paying attention. On the far side of the church, a shadow shifted. A man with worn boots, a leather jacket, and a Bible pressed firmly against his chest stood near the back pew, half hidden by the dim stained glass light. Michael Reyes did not belong in that place. Not with his rough history. Not with the scar near his jaw or the quiet weight in his gaze. But the moment he saw Derek's hand hurting her, something inside him locked into place, like a blade finally clicking into its sheath. This was the moment Elias Ellington had warned him about. The moment Michael had promised to face, even if Grace hated him for it. Even if the whole world misunderstood. He took one slow step down the aisle, then another, each echo somehow louder than the piano music that pretended nothing was happening. Grace looked up, her breath catching, her heartbeat thundering inside her chest, a silent plea forming in her eyes even before she understood it herself. And that is where this story begins. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, justice, and second chances, consider subscribing. The deep rumble of an engine had cut through the quiet street beside the church only minutes earlier. Guests near the windows leaned in curiosity, expecting a late-arriving luxury car or a hurried taxi. Instead, a heavy, raw motorcycle noise vibrated through the glass, stirring confusion and whispers. Someone murmured, "Who would show up to a wedding like this on a motorcycle?" No one had the answer. A black motorcycle slowed and stopped at the steps. The engine, alive and stubborn, took a moment to fade. A faint scent of warm metal hovered in the air before dissipating into the fragrance of lilies drifting from inside. One of the flower girls peeked through the door, saw the rider, and stepped back with wide, uncertain eyes. Michael removed his helmet slowly, as if preparing himself not for a wedding but for a confrontation with fate. His dark hair fell messily across his forehead, his jaw tight with thought. His leather jacket was worn smooth from miles of running, searching, trying to become someone better than the man he used to be. The faint tattoos beneath his rolled sleeves hinted at a past he didn't hide, but didn't glorify either. The kind of past a man carries with quiet shame and quiet pride at the same time. And in his hands, he held something that didn't match any part of his appearance. An old leather Bible, its edges frayed, its title fading. A book handled so often that the cover felt more like soft cloth than leather. It wasn't just a book. It was a man's final request. Elias Ellington's Bible. A promise carved into paper and breath. A final assignment handed to a man who had spent years believing he wasn't worthy of anyone's trust. Until Elias looked him in the eyes and proved him wrong. Michael stood before the church doors and hesitated for the briefest moment. The memory washed over him. Elias lying weak in a hospital bed, sunlight cutting across his face through half-closed blinds. The beeping of the monitors was irregular, each sound a quiet reminder that time was running out. The old man's voice was shallow, but sharp with urgency, as though each word cost effort he no longer had. "My daughter sees with her heart, Michael. But hearts can go blind too." Michael had swallowed hard that day, fighting the tightness in his chest. He remembered gripping the older man's hand, feeling bones thin as paper beneath weathered skin, feeling a man who was once strong reduced to fragility, yet still holding a faith unshaken. If she walks into danger one day, you walk for her. He didn't trust his own voice then. He just nodded, the weight of the promise settling into him like something sacred. The Bible grew heavier in his hands as he stood facing the church doors. He pushed them open. The stained glass light spilled over him, painting his silhouette in deep reds and golds. Conversations died instantly. Guests straightened in their seats, unsure what to make of the leather-clad stranger stepping into the sanctity of the room. Some recognized him vaguely. Isn't that the man Elias used to help? Others only saw an intruder. And there she was, Grace Ellington. Her wedding dress flowed perfectly. Her veil shimmered softly, but her face betrayed everything the perfect ceremony tried to hide. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Her shoulders were tense beneath the lace. A subtle tremble ran through her hands as she held the bouquet, as if her body understood what her mind still tried to deny. Her breathing was shallow, measured, forced, the breathing of someone trying not to fall apart in public. Her eyes drifted to Derek, charismatic, charming, admired by half the people in the room. But only she knew the man beneath the performance. The quiet criticisms about her voice, the suggestions disguised as control, the isolation disguised as care, the advice that chipped away at who she was until she barely recognized herself. The nights she cried alone in the bathroom, wondering if she was being dramatic, or simply seeing too late what her father had tried to warn her about. And the squeeze in her arm was only the beginning. The piano music resumed, pretending to carry the room into a celebration of love. But Grace's pulse raced as if trapped inside a cage made of expectations. She felt a knot in her stomach that wouldn't loosen no matter how deeply she tried to breathe. Michael watched Derek lean in again, the false tenderness returning, the threatening whisper hidden behind a gentleman's smile. The moment Derek's hand slid down Grace's arm, the moment her shoulders tensed and she flinched, Michael saw everything. He saw the fear, the resignation, the quiet plea hidden in her eyes. He began walking, boots against polished wood, slow, deliberate, echoes shaking the ceremony's fragile illusion. Guests turned, some frowned, others whispered. One woman gasped softly. Derek sensed him coming before he turned around. His smile twitched. Michael stopped only a few steps away. Grace. Her head lifted, eyes widening. Her lips parted slightly, but no sound came out. "Look at me," he said softly. "Just look at me." Her breath caught. Something inside her cracked. The first crack in months that didn't come from pain, but from truth finally finding her. Derek forced a laugh, his voice louder than needed. "I apologize, everyone. This man, he has a complicated past. He doesn't belong here." Michael didn't look at Derek. He hadn't once. His focus remained on Grace, unwavering. "This isn't about me," Michael said quietly. "It's about what your father discovered before he ran out of time." Grace froze. The mention of her father struck a place inside her she'd been ignoring since his death. Memories surged. The attempts he made to warn her, the days he was too weak to talk, the concerned looks she didn't understand, the way he grasped her hand a little too tightly, as if searching for courage to speak. She slowly pulled her arm away from Derek's grip. The room held its breath. Michael opened Elias's Bible, not like someone opening a book, but like someone unlocking the truth. A faint smell of old paper rose from it. He pulled out a folded letter. "He wrote this for you," Michael said, when he realized he might not get another chance. Grace took the letter with trembling hands. Her father's handwriting, shaky, uneven, unmistakably his, stared back at her. She opened it carefully, as if afraid it might tear. Line by line, her world shifted. Her father had seen Derek for who he was. He had investigated quietly. Debt. Lawsuits. Women from other states. A pattern of deception hidden behind charm. A predator disguised as a gentleman. Elias had gathered everything he could, and entrusted the rest to Michael. Grace pressed the letter to her chest. Tears streamed silently, not from heartbreak, but from the relief of finally understanding the unease that had haunted her for months. She felt like a blindfold had been torn away. Painful, but liberating. Derek stepped forward, desperation cracking through his perfect mask. "Grace, he's lying. Your father was confused." "Enough!" Her voice cut through the room like a blade. Michael pulled out a thick envelope from the Bible. The pastor and family lawyer inspected the documents. Transfers, fake contracts, messages with other victims, matching patterns of manipulation, pages heavy with proof, heavy with betrayal. Whispers rose, people stood. The illusion shattered. Derek lunged to grab the documents, but Michael stepped between him, calm and immovable. "You will not touch her," he said. In one controlled motion, Michael gripped Derek's collar and pushed him backward, walking him down the aisle and out of the church. Guests parted in shock as Derek stumbled onto the steps outside. Police arrived minutes later. The pastor handed over the evidence. Officers placed handcuffs around Derek's wrists. His protests became pathetic echoes against the weight of truth. He looked back at Grace for help. She did not move. Inside, she dropped the bouquet. The petals scattered across the floor like pieces of the life she almost stepped into blindly. For the first time, she felt her lungs fill with breath that wasn't borrowed or restrained. Michael returned quietly. He looked unsure if he should speak. "You kept your promise," Grace whispered. "Your father kept it first," he replied, his voice low but steady. In the weeks that followed, Grace found strength she didn't know she had. She contacted the other women Derek had deceived. She listened. She supported. She built a case with the lawyer. She refused to be silent any longer. Every truth she uncovered felt like reclaiming a part of herself. Michael stayed close, not hovering, not intruding, sometimes offering words, sometimes offering silence, always offering safety. He reminded her of her father in ways she hadn't noticed before, not in appearance, but in the quiet way he protected without asking for anything in return. Eventually, she walked into the church alone, taking a seat where her father used to sit. Michael appeared moments later, Bible in hand. He placed it gently on the wooden pew beside her, as if returning something sacred. The gesture said everything. Grace closed her eyes. For the first time in a long time, the silence felt whole. Healing. Sometimes truth arrives late, loud, and inconvenient, even riding a motorcycle into a wedding. But truth never comes to destroy a life. It comes to stop that life from being destroyed piece by piece. If this story touched your heart, I'd be grateful if you subscribed.